Hey everybody, this is Kyle Sasser and this is BizTweaks. With BizTweaks, I help small and medium-sized businesses and entrepreneurs punch above their weight utilizing software, processes, and other sorts of tools. So today, first show, figured that we'd kind of start at the main thing. If I had one thing that I was going to share with everybody, what one thing would have the most impact on the most people? What one thing is most people not doing that could greatly improve their business? What would that be? And the answer is, drum roll. The answer is utilizing a CRM. Now, I'm sure you've probably heard about these and seen these before out there. You may even have some experience with them. If you've been around as long as I have, you'll remember ACT, Symantec ACT, and Goldmine, which were two old school customer relationship management softwares. Nowadays, most people know Salesforce, maybe Sugar CRM or Constant Contact. All of these things are tools and they're useless unless you actually utilize them. But when you utilize them, it gives you so much leverage and information and honestly power in your business. It makes everything relatively as effortless as it can be. So starting at the beginning, what is a CRM? So CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, or manager, however you want to go about it. But basically what it is it's just think like an old Rolodex. So, you have cards with, so it's not cards because it's in the computer, but you have the company name, you have a contact name, you have their phone number, you have an email address, and you maybe have some notes on there that were jotted. So that's like the old school Rolodex. And if you're around in the 80s or 90s like I was, there was not a desk that was without a Rolodex. Nowadays, we have computers to make everything a little bit easier and a little bit nicer. And computer CRMs, much the same thing. However, they're usually integrated with other systems and provide a lot more functionality. So you'll actually be able to send an email there. A lot of them you can click to make a phone call. You can also keep notes. You can schedule next contacts, so it'll pop up and remind you that, hey, you haven't talked to this person in 3 weeks. Maybe you should give them a call and ask them about X, Y, and Z. You can schedule reminders. You can make notes about, like their family stuff. And anyone who's in sales or business knows that all of these little notes are what actually builds those relationships and what actually makes business happen a lot of times. It's not always about the widgets or the prices. It's like, yeah, I like this guy. I'm going to listen to what he has to say. And by keeping those sorts of little notes, it really puts that personal touch on things, and your customers are really going to appreciate, you going the extra mile to remember it. Now, they're not going to know that you're looking at a computer screen that's telling you all this stuff. That's the beauty of CRM. And even if they do, like I know that sort of stuff, like I know that stuff exists and that's what's happening. Like no one can remember all these little details about everyone they've talked to. But even though I know that, the fact that they still do it and acknowledge that they took the time to write that down means something, and I pay more attention to them. So CRM, it's great. Now, many people know Salesforce. They're kind of the juggernaut in the CRM space. There's a few others around, Constant Contact, and there's tons and tons. So I've used and evaluated all of them, and honestly, every 2 or 3 years, I go through every CRM that's available on the market that I can find, and I evaluate them for feature sets, ease of use, and also longevity. Because I can tell you, the worst thing is to start using a tool. Especially nowadays when everything's kind of online, you start using a tool and then they turn the lights out and you're basically done, and all that work is just poof gone. So those are the 3 criteria that I kind of evaluate software tools on. There's one that I've been using in all of my businesses since about 2006. It was originally an offshoot of Sugar CRM, which was an open source. I was a big open source proponent back then. which basically means that the source code was available to the public and you could modify it and change it however you want. My background's in IT, by the way. So the one that I use, I built multiple businesses with this, is called Vtiger, which is a ridiculous name. I completely agree with you. I mean, Vtiger, what's that? But here's the reason I like Vtiger. One, it's very affordable. When you look at Salesforce or some of the other software as a service CRMs, you're going to be staggered by the price. Salesforce wants like last I checked, it's like $150 per user. So if you have 6 people, that's like $1,000 a month just to have a CRM, which is still worth it because it will leverage your business beyond what you could fathom. But there's a better option available. It's called Vtiger. So there's 2 types of Vtiger. There is the open source solution, which if you're handy with computers, you can hook up with you can download the open source version and install that on a Linux or Windows system, or you can have somebody else host Vtiger for you. Vtiger themselves, they do provide hosting. Their top tier is $36 a month per user, which is a ridiculous value. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute, just because I'm going to cover the feature set and what this software does in my businesses that I use it for. The open source one is free. It takes a little bit more work to get the same functionality as the paid version. I'm also kind of working on putting together some hosting platforms for it as well, kind of a halfway between open source and the paid solution. One of my issues with the Vtiger paid is that a lot of the extensibility is lost. So if you need some backend work done, like database or something like that, it's nearly impossible to get that. But with the open source, you do have that availability. Now, the links to that is going to be down below. If you just want to get your feet wet, unless you have something really specific, the $36 a month for the top tier is absolutely stupendous. Just remember that is $36 per month per user. So that can add up quickly. And I'm going to put the details to all the hosting stuff below or in the show notes. Now, so far as functionality goes, remember how I said it's like a Rolodex. CRM's like a Rolodex at your fingertips. So what Vtiger does and the way I utilize it, it has, the main key is that it has modules to do almost whatever you want. There's probably a module to do it or a way to customize it to do it yourself. One of the biggest keys is you can create custom modules. So I put together my own, custom module for real estate leads. Real estate leads, they have everyone has a particular set of information that you have to gather. How many beds and rooms and bathrooms, who owns it, when did they contact you, what's the address, when are they thinking about selling, and then, the call and contact history for that lead. So I was able to create a custom module with all that information and then connect it with all of the other modules, the contact, the person's name, the person's business, the person's phone number, person's email. I can then build an email campaign. So Vtiger will completely replace MailChimp. And you can set up email campaigns, both with just the email blast email marketing that MailChimp does, or you can set up more strategic drip campaigns and also multi-path marketing campaigns on the paid hosting platform, which means that you can send somebody an email with a link to an offer. So let's say you say, hey, here's an offer, buy my book, $5. And depending upon if they click the link in that email, you can then send them this other email saying like, hey, you might maybe do you want to bookmark with that, or thanks, or whatever you want it to be. But then the magic comes with, if they didn't click on that link, you can send them another email with a different offer until you find something they do want to buy. And then when they buy it, then you can send them more emails related to that. It's brilliant. And there's not a lot of email platforms out there that are doing it. Some of the stuff that Vtiger will do, MailChimp won't. It's crazy. You also get all the statistics. You can see how many people clicked on it. You can have those clicks in that email trigger other events in the CRM. So like if they click it, you can sort, you can set to modify a field. So like if somebody clicks, be like, hey, they're an email clicker. And then you move them into another complete list for different types of contacts. So that's just the email marketing section. You can also build an entire campaign similar to the email stuff, but with SMS text messages. And you can combine the two. So you can be like, hey, send them an email this day, this other day, send them a text message asking them, you know, X, Y, or Z, or hey, just thinking about you. Follow up with these 2 other emails, send them this document and proposal. Oh yeah, by the way, Vtiger also tracks inventory. It'll track purchase orders. It'll track sales orders, sales quotes, and you can convert between all 3 of those. So you can create a sales quote. You can then see that there is demand on that product to create a purchase order, and then you can create a sales invoice whenever you ship the product. The paid version also ties into QuickBooks, both the online and the desktop version, which is nuts. Not too many CRMs do that. A lot of them do the online version, but not too many do the desktop version. Vtiger also allows you to build appointment pages and send those to people. So real estate, I go out and I have to meet people a lot of times at their house, sometimes some other location. And you might have seen these from people you've dealt with. Calendly is a popular one. I think that's how you pronounce that. Calendly. So Vtiger's already replaced MailChimp, which is like $5 to $10. I think last to check. Calendly is another like $5. So we're at $20 in just software savings already. So Vtiger will replace that appointments pages, which means that, so I get a contact and I need to schedule an appointment to go out and meet these people. So whenever I'm talking to them on the phone, I'm like, hey, instead of the back and forth, like, hey, what's time is good for you? Is this good for you? No, that's not good for me. Back, forth, back, forth. Instead of all that, all you do is you get their email address and you say, hey, I need your email address because I'm just going to send you my calendar. And you pick out whatever time works for you, and then we'll meet then. It eliminates all the back and forth. On the back end, you can set blocked off times that you don't want. So, like I have my mornings dedicated to my morning routines and my prospecting and lead calling and all that stuff. So I have my mornings blocked off. But anything other than that, I'm able to provide those appointments to my clients at their convenience. And it makes me look like a rock star because they can see that there's certain parts blocked off. So I have stuff going on, but I provide such a ridiculous level of service because they can pick whatever time they want and I'm going to be there. It's amazing. I've gotten so many compliments on it. One of the other cool things about Vtiger, especially the paid online version, is they have the Vtiger 360 app. There's some other apps available for the open source one. Not quite as robust as the paid one, of course, but free's free. But the 360 basically brings the entire CRM into your phone. You can also sync it up with Outlook or Google Calendars, which is awesome because so it does the calendar stuff, we did the appointment pages. So it'll pull the information from your calendar if you have certain things blocked off already. But the other cool thing is it'll actually sync into your contacts in your phone. So whenever I type a client lead into Vtiger, within a few minutes, it shows up on my phone, which doesn't sound that important really, but whenever somebody calls me, I answer with like, hey Johnny, how's it going? They're like, oh crap, this guy's on the ball. The important thing is all of these things make you look ridiculously, not omnipotent, but like you have all of your information together, but you want to do it as easily as possible because like manually entering this stuff in all these different systems is going to be a nightmare. So Vtiger is great because it integrates with a lot of this stuff automatically. The other major powerful thing that Vtiger does is automation. Now, automation is a bit of a buzzword nowadays, but what it really means is basically the system is going to take on certain tasks for you without you having to do anything. So for instance, I have some automation set up with, if I haven't talked to somebody within whatever time period, let's say 2 weeks. So if I haven't spoken with somebody in 2 weeks, it'll automatically create a event for me on my calendar to call that person today. And in that event, it'll give me their name, their phone number, and also like any notes that I have on what I need to talk with them about. I can also segment my clients and leads. So let's just take real estate again. So I have all my buyers with the buyer's tag. I have all my sellers with the seller's tag. I can send them different emails depending upon what category they're in. I also have ones for vendors. I have ones for other agents. So I'm making sure that I'm not sending my marketing emails to my buyers and sellers to other agents, because I don't want them to steal my thunder. So what else will this thing do? Well, it'll directly capture leads from your website, or it'll scrape emails if you already have pre-existing like web forms set up. So a lot of website forms will send the form data to an email address. With Vtiger, you can tell Vtiger to monitor that email address, and then it'll take the leads first name, last name, and email address, phone number, and then create a new lead in the system and then notify you to call them. You can also set it up where, if you're in some sort of service industry, if you're like a AC repair guy, you can have user-generated tickets, which is awesome because you don't have to field that phone call and take notes. Customers can just go to the website, say, hey, I need service, bing, and it automatically puts together and schedules an appointment for you and notifies you that they're having an issue. Vtiger will also manage subscriptions, product payments. You can have people pay you directly. You can send them an invoice and they can go to a payment page and make a payment. And then that links up to QuickBooks. Are you kind of seeing how everything goes here? It's an amazing piece of software. You can also build sales pipelines or lead pipelines, so you can see how your entire sales funnel is doing. You can customize each of those pipelines if you have different product lines. You can put estimated revenues for sales forecasts. You can create dashboards. And just to multiply those effects out, you can then customize those for every user in your organization. And you can also limit what they can see with the security profiles. So, the salesperson on the front line, you can either have them see all of the customers or just a few of the customers. The managers have more oversight over what everyone's doing and can direct them better. Everyone can leave comments. There's collaboration tools. Are you getting the picture? This is an amazing piece of software, and there's a reason that I am doing this as the first episode. It's the best program I've ever used. I've built multi-million-dollar businesses with this software package. I can't recommend it enough. Vtiger, hats off. It's the CRM that no one's ever heard of, and it's absolutely amazing. So I am going to be putting some Vtiger training courses together. Of course, I'm always here for some sort of business, as well as to help you. I hope I brought you some value today. If you have any comments or questions about what Vtiger can or cannot do, please leave them down in the comment sections below or send me an email. Hello, HELLO, at BizTweaks.com, BIZTWEAKS.com. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel because we're going to have a lot more great stuff. I also have a Amazon series running currently, so if you've been thinking about selling on Amazon, either new products or maybe you work for a business that has existing products, make sure to go check that out. So I'm Kyle Sasser. Thanks for watching BizTweaks.